Ever since its introduction back in Gen 4, it's hard to deny the fact that Lucario is cool. With few exceptions, the fighting type in the first few generations of Pokemon left a little bit to be desired, but this slender, anime-inspired Jackal is a welcome change. But with its aura attacks and telepathy being such a huge part of its characterization, I have one question. Why the hell is this thing Steel and not Psychic? Now, I know we already get a Psychic fighting type in this generation with Captain Sword Hands, but what about Lucario screams Steel? Is it these little spikes on his hands? Because there's a lot of Pokemon with design nods that do not lead to typing, just like a Gyarados and Charizard, the flying Pokemon. Is it his steely resolve to bring justice to the wicked? Because that doesn't make him metallic, and this isn't D&D and he's not a metallic dragon. But what if we could actually make Lucario a Steel type? Or a Ghost? Or maybe Fairy? Well, now we can! This is Pokemon Infinite Fusion, the fan game with over 175,000 different Pokemon combinations, and we're here to see if we can beat a hardcore, randomized Nuzlocke using only Lucario fusions. That means if a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead. The level cap is the next leader's ace, no active items can be used in battle, and we're going to be playing on set mode. If you're checking out the video and you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and maybe give a little tickle to that like button. It really helps out with visibility, and I could really use your help. Also, it's Father's Day weekend, and it would be a great gift. But with that, fusing! Starting things off in Professor Oak's lab, our starter choices are Magcargo, Cofagrigus, and Yanmega, and all of these have awesome Lucario fusions. Wanting to give myself a little bit more of a challenge, I go for Yanmega, since Magcargo and Cofagrigus together are guaranteed to be super effective against me no matter which combination of Lucario I use. Fusing right away, we get this awesome sprite. I love the extra limbs and the wings, and the green, black, and red colors really work well together. Rando challenges to a battle right away, kicking things off. Cofagrigus is going to be our friend for the next few hours, and we hit it hard with a Metal Claw since it opted to go rock as opposed to fire. After being disabled, I can't hit it with anything else, so we just waste our time waiting for the disable to wear off. After a few turns, our move comes back up, and we take it down, earning our first win. Traveling around before our Route 22 battle against Rando, we've used a couple of new friends, including a Paris for this silly little angry bug, a Girafarig for this mighty Centaur, and I love that Riolu's its butthead. And finally, Dugong, and I gotta say, I love the black and white. The tusks do make him look a little silly though. Rando's waiting for us over on Route 22. It's only been about 15 minutes, but he makes some kind of comment about me being 10,000 light years away from accessing the secret garden. He goes ahead and sends out a Ratbat against our Hecarim. A Confusion does pretty good damage, and we manage to take it down after a second one. Cofagrigus comes in, and we swap into Buck Bumble, going for a Metal Claw, getting the Oko. And with that, we now have access to the secret garden. In the garden, we grab a Tentacool, fusing it for this luminescent jellyfish. And with that, we're ready to take on Brock. Brock's been randomized into a Steel type, which is kind of funny because that's what his modern mode typing is. Setting in Band Slash against our Bumble, Metal Claw does basically nothing, as we get hit with a Night Slash. Going for a double team, we try to max out our evasion since I can't really hit him with anything. After 4 Metal Claws, we manage to take it down, avoiding Nightshades, leading into his Stardon. A Force Palm brings it down to its 30, and with the second one, we earn our Boulder Badge. Outside of Mount Moon, we find Nurse Joy tending to this wounded Geodude. Brock struts on by, flashing a glance at Joy with those steely eyes of his. So overcome with emotion and passion, she heads back into the Pokemon Center before fainting to his pure manliness, and we head into Mount Moon to avoid it ourselves. Fighting our way through Mount Moon, we managed to capture and fuse a Monferno, and I love the way this fusion line looks. I'm so excited for Infernape. Towards the end of Mount Moon, we find Team Rocket attempting a triple fusion. I like to imagine seeing how cool all my Lucario are. The grunt controlling the machine goes full weeb, overloading the machine, thinking about a body pillow or something. Giovanni, having the same thought, is completely embarrassed and leaves. Before facing off against Rando, we go ahead and fuse Golduck we got over on Route 4, and honestly, this thing is way cooler than it has any right to be. And I love that the water bending going on behind it as well. Rando's over on Nugget Bridge, bragging about how he has twice as many badges as we do, and how well his training's been going, challenging us to a rematch. He starts things off with a Wii Lord, and all I can think about is Farquaad as a Confusion gets him down low before healing back up. After 2 more, we manage to take it down, taking an Astonish for about 30%. Cofagrigus comes out second as we swap into Quack Attack as he incinerates our berry. How rude! We return fire with a Water Pulse, doing about half. After a Nightshade brings us down to about half, we finish it off as he sends in Gormados. Going for a Stab or a Sphere, we get the KO in one, and then Tentathorn comes next. Swapping into Lucaferno, a Water Pulse does a lot of damage, and I have no idea why I did that, sending in Steel. A Metal Claw does okay damage to us as we go for an Aura Sphere, basically doing nothing. After he sets up a few layer of spikes, we get out 3 Signal Beams, and with that, Rando goes down again. Fighting our way over to Bill's house, he wants to be as cool as our Lucario's by fusing himself with a big spiky boy, but after missing the point of what makes Lucario cool, we help him defuse. and he sends us on an all-expenses-paid cruise. Before taking on Missy, we fused with the Nidoking that we had received as our Magikarp back before Mount Moon, and honestly, this is a great fusion. I love the purple and black. Missy has also been randomized into her modern mode typing, which is kinda weird, but that also means the second leader in a row that we shouldn't have much trouble with. Sending in a Jinth up against our Buck Bumble, we set up a Swords Dance, and after getting slapped a bunch of times, a single Metal Claw takes it out. Talonsian could be a problem. Not sure whether it's fire or not, I swap into Lucaferno, going for an Aura Sphere. Since it's super effective, it is fire, not flying, and after launching a few more, we get the KO and our Cascade Patch. After getting our Fishing Rod over in Vermilion, we go ahead and fuse a Dusknoir. I love that this is actually a cool fusion. Usually this line goes really downhill from Duskull, but I will 100% take this. On the SSN, Rando runs into us at a party wearing a fake beard, pretending not to know us. He introduces himself as Captain Rando. When I refuse to play along with this game, he reveals that Captain Rando was actually just Rando all along! What a twist. Setting out as Rapish, we send out Karen. Don't like this thing's legs, and we swap into Dobby, afraid of a fire attack, and he just drains us. Going for an Aura Sphere, he stomps us as we follow up with a crit. After Rando heals up, we keep on spamming Aura Sphere until we eventually take it down, but now we're down to about half. Cough Bat is out next. Afraid this thing is flying, we swap into Knuckles as it sets up a Confuse Ray. After hitting ourselves and a Nightshade, we're down to about half, and even though we've hit this thing, we need to swap out again. Setting in Karen, a Shadow Punch takes it down, leading to his starter. Swapping into Buck Bumble, a Hex does good damage to us as we go ahead for the Night Slash, getting it down to half, and now we're burnt. Now that we're burnt and I refuse to switch into another, Hex goes and takes down our starter. I'm sorry, Buck Bumble. You'll always be my favorite Random N64 theme song. Setting in Quack Attack, a single Water Pulse takes it down, and his final Pokemon, Latiga. Okay, why don't I ever get these fusions? But anyways, it goes down to one Aura Sphere. Lieutenant Surge has been randomized into a Bug Trainer, and honestly, that is terrifying. He starts things off with Buttertick, and at least it's electric, and we go ahead and send in Dobby. Going for an Ember, we bring it down super low before he heals back up and confuses us. After hitting ourselves twice and having our berry stolen, we swap into Steel as he does the same thing again. Setting up a Swords Dance, and Ice Shard does big damage. After healing up a second time, we manage to take it down while receiving minimal damage. I love Anfaldo. It looks like he's wearing like Sith armor. Anyways, we go for a Force Palm and do basically nothing. After taking some damage, we switch to Ice Shard, taking it down in 2. Another electric Pokemon. His final Pokemon, Cacdon, looks like he has a big brain, so we go ahead and slap it, forcing his berry. This time, going for an Ice Shard, he uses Swagger, confusing us, and we swap into Quack Attack. As it raises its defense, we manage to take it down with one Water Pulse, earning our Thunder Badge. Over in Pokemon Tower, Rando is there mourning the loss of his pride after being embarrassed by us on the SSN. Looking for revenge, he sees us, challenging us without performing any kind of silly comedy bit. With Incense out first, we go ahead and set up a Swords Dance, as a Flame Burst does big damage to us. Knowing Shadow Punch is ×4, we KO it in 1, doing the same to his starter. Leafode is out next. Going for a Fire Punch, we get put to sleep. So swapping into Dobby, he goes for an Electro Ball, and then a Swift, and now we're at about half. After swapping Embers and Heals, eventually we take it down, and we're at about half now. This slightly strange looking Clefable comes in next, swapping out into Steel as a Wake Up Slap hits us way harder than I thought it would. Swapping into Hecarim, we take the slap a lot better, going for 2 Psybeams, taking it down, ending the match. Rando apologizes for starting a battle so abruptly, but then we hear an argument going on the other side of the room. Heading over, we see 2 Rocket Grunts harassing this older dude, then they force him upstairs? Rando lets us know we can't go upstairs because the tower full of dead Pokemon is somehow haunted. Who knew? So we need to get some special goggles from the mall in Celadon City. So that's the next stop. While in Celadon, we see the gym over in the distance and figure we should go check it out before shopping. And we find Rando fighting off 2 Rocket Grunts over by a sewer exit. That's gross, but he does an excellent job taking them both down. For once, we're the ones interrupting as they used our entrance as an opportunity to run off, and then Rando says he can try to figure out where their base is. I don't know how to tell you this, Rando, but if you fought them near the sewer, and then they ran into their sewer, the base is probably the sewer. So we head inside. Making our way through their secret base, we eventually find Giovanni being wildly appropriate with this lady. Oh my god, that's Erica. I recognize her from Gym Leader Monthly. Don't worry, Erica. Justice has come. And his name is Soap. Giovanni approaches us from behind, whispering something bone-chilling into our ear, and I'm not sure if I'm ready for this battle. He sends out this glitch Greymon first, and a Flame Burst does huge damage to us while we set up a Swords Dance. Switching into Quack Attack, another one does a lot less as we go for a Water Pulse. A critical takes us a bit below half before we send this Digimon back to the internet. Next is Vibragon. Hoping on outspeed, I go for a ×4 Ice Beam, but I'm not, and we lose our second Pokemon of this run. I guess we won't be going Quackers anymore. Steel comes in and an Ice Shard almost takes down the big guy before I lose another Pokemon to an Earthquake. I really hate how early the Flygon line earns EQ. This is horrible. Hecarim comes out and a Psybeam does less than half after healing back up with the second one, getting him down into the red. Here comes another EQ, and here comes another KO. None of my Pokemon remaining can resist Earthquake, but lucky for us, that last Psybeam confused it, and we're able to take it down. After that monster, his final Pokemon is this little chicken. So after that, we deal with Giovanni, and it's time to take on Erica. Rebuilding our team, we fuse a Hypno, and with Lucario, it just makes it like a swole Lucario. It kind of works. Next is Starmie, and I love this design. It's a great use of the gems, and I love that it's like a constellation come to life. Finally, Weavile's ready to just sink its claws into something. Rest in peace, my pervy friend. Now it's time for us to take on Erica. She's been randomized into a fighting trainer. After setting up a nasty plot, we managed to take out our first two Pokemon with one hit, with Tim Curry comes out, only taking two before being smashed into the ground, acquiring the Rainbow Badge. After grabbing our Ghost Goggles, we head to the top of Pokemon Tower to save this old guy. Turns out that he's Mr. Fuji, the original designer of the Master Ball. He lets us know that Team Rocket has stolen the plans, and plans to take over Silph Company in Saffron City. Lucky for us, though, Sabrina's very powerful, and she should be able to help defend Silph and her city. Meanwhile, our next stop is Fuchsia City in Koga, but before that, we fuse up with a Scyther I found over on Route 13, and I love Lucathur. Next, we fuse with an Arcanine to replace our fallen Centaur, with one with a bit more firepower? And why does Slowbro just look like a Swinub with a sexy bod? And Hydrario is ready to give you the clamps. Koga's been randomized into an Ice Trainer. And just as an aside, I love the idea of an Ice Ninja. Toyo is always my favorite secondary Yu Yu Hakusho character. Dewbell's his first Pokemon, as a Flamethrower just barely manages to miss out on the KO. We manage to take it out after he heals up. Okay, I really don't like this thing. I stay in assuming I can tank one hit, but get OHKO'd by a Psychic. And our awesome dog man thing goes down. This run is turning out to be a lot more difficult than I expected it to be. Swapping into Clamps, I take a Wank Up Slap, barely, as we take it out with a Crunch. Larcel is a really cool sprite, but knowing it's bug, we go for a ×4 Flamethrower, getting the KO, as it sends in its lead, Kafa Uno. Okay, this thing is amazing, and it's so smug. Risking it for the content, I go for a Flamethrower, doing about half, as it goes for a Power Split? Okay, thanks for the throw, dude. Fighting through Silph Co, Dobby evolves, and I really love this fusion line, and the Flaming Bow Staff is amazing. Apparently Sabrina didn't play this gym of mine and doesn't know the gym leaders are supposed to act as police in their own town, allowing Team Rocket to completely invade their city. I guess we have to stop them. After saving everyone, Rando, who was hiding in a broom closet, says he would have saved everybody, but he had to go to the bathroom first. When we don't believe him, he challenges us to a battle to prove that he could have saved everyone, which at this point we should just be working together, but whatever, man. Rando sends out Clefwar as we set up a Swords Dance. After a triple weight doesn't quite get the KO, a follow-up takes it down. Poryron is kinda cool. I love the design. And after a Discharge paralyzes us, we can't take advantage of its quad fighting weakness. Because of its buff defense, we fail to get the KO, and after taking another hit, we manage to take it down. And it sends in this giant spider! Swapping into Dobby, a single Flamethrower takes out the spider, and this goofy Charizard is up next. For some reason, I go for an Aura Sphere, but I end up switching into Knuckles. A Drill Run manages to take it down, and all that's left is his starter, who tanks a Drill Run really well and hits us down to about half. Going for a second attack, a Shadow Ball brings us down into the red, where we can finally finish things off. Rando then agrees to help us take on Giovanni, and we head into the battle, together, for the first time. Not just as teammates, but as brothers. Giovanni is yelling at the Silph president for the lack of Master Ball production. After a while, he notices that we're here. He was expecting Sabrina to do something since it's her city, but he'll settle for us. He starts off with King Gizzard and Yance, taking out Rando's first Pokemon as I set up a Swords Dance. A Chip Away does big damage to the dragon, as Giovanni opts to heal the wrong Pokemon I set up with another Swords Dance. On the next turn, we take down both of his Pokemon, leading into Genduk. And why is its Grotto Fusion a conversation portrait? Or is that the Phantom Zone? I don't understand. Somebody tell me. Either way, our Hammer Arm takes it down in one, and a Shadow Ball KOs the Duck for the smoothest Giovanni double battle I have ever had. Before taking on Sabrina, we fuse a Glasgow, and he is Batman. And Renucleus is always a good one, and this little baby decided to use his goo to deliver Fists of Justice. Sabrina starts things off with his blocky Tyson, and we managed to Hoko all 4 of her Pokemon. But shout out to these designs. No wonder she didn't help up against Giovanni. Skipping ahead to Blaine, he's been randomized into a Dragon Trainer, which could be problematic. His first Pokemon is the most fierce Celebi I have ever seen, but after setting up one Combine, we managed to take it down in 1. The rest of his Pokemon don't fare any better, and once again, really cool designs, but the randomizer hates him. I normally like to use the insane settings because you get to have some absolutely crazy stuff you might have to deal with, but sometimes it ends up being, well, too random. Outside, we see Team Rocket harassing the Sailor. He refuses to bring them to Mount Mortar to launch the next phase of their super Oh, crap, I shouldn't have said that part. Realizing it's not a secret anymore, they just steal the guy's boat instead, and we head out to deal with things knowing that Blaine either can't or won't. Inside Mount Mortar, we find that Team Rocket has captured not only Moltres, but Zapdos and Articuno as well. Not only that, but Team Rocket has perfected their triple fusion tech, and they've managed to shrink it down into a normal splicer? Not that huge machine? Well, that's progress. Giovanni boasts that he's been waiting for us and that he knew we were coming, and he's ready to test out his new creation on us. The battle against Zapmakuno begins as we send out Swinub. Going for Swords Dance, I know that we're going to go down, but I just need one turn, which I don't get. Next out is Nasus. Okay, normally I either want to use Discharge or Rock Slide on these things, so not having either option, we opt into Surf. We do okay damage to all of them. Going for a second one, we managed to KO Moltres before being taken down ourselves. Now that the other two were at less than half, Clamps manages to clean up Articuno with a Flamethrower. After a Dragon Pulse fails to KO, we get paralyzed and need to swap out. Sending in Flubber, we tank a couple of hits and manage to KO the big bird, forcing it to defuse, and for Giovanni to have some sort of breakdown, and leave not only the cave, but Team Rocket to go think about his life. We hear that Viridian City's gym leader's back in town, and we need to rebuild our team, starting off with this Roserade fusion, and I love this Druid cosplay so much. Next, Sceptile is like some kind of Greninja crossed with his Megaform. It is excellent, and I love the aura on his tail. Finally, Blastoise is just a Mega Blastoise, but that's always nice. Turns out Giovanni was the missing Viridian gym leader this entire time, which is crazy. That dude is a criminal, and he looks like he was randomized into a ground trainer. That's weird. Setting out Darkbeam, Blue sets up a Swords Dance, and we proceed to Hoko his entire team. And check out all of these excellent sprites. I really love them all, but I am glad this battle was easy. With that, we earn our Earth Badge and the ability to enter the Pokemon League. We call Rando and ask him to meet us over on Route 22. After burying the hatchet against Team Rocket, I'm really looking forward to traveling together. Oh, come on, really? He sends out Go-Wet, and we send an Arcade Crusader. After setting up a Swords Dance, a Night Slash manages to take it down. Orb doesn't fare too well either, and Stanat is surprised as I am that he tanked more than one of these. Smeargon Z? I really love all the error code Porygon fusions. And Valani is somebody's kink. Then, after only 2 slashes, it's time for us to head over to the Indigo Plateau. Alone. Before kicking things off against the league, we fuse up with a Blissey, and look at this Nurse Joy. She is so happy to help. With our team ready, let's take a look at the squad. First up, we have Clamps with Dragon Pulse, Calm Mind, Crunch, and Flamethrower. Joy with Psychic, Soft Boiled, Will-O-Wisp, and Minimize. Blaster with Flash Cannon, Aura Sphere, Ice Beam, and Surf. Quick Strike with Swords Dance, Force Palm, Night Slash, and Metal Claw. Dobby with Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, and Close Combat. And then Blue with Leaf Blade, Night Slash, Swords Dance, and X-Scissor. Our first challenge is up against Lorelei. She's been randomized into a Rock Trainer, the second worst type in the game, so yay for that, and she sends out a Bliss Cargo to start. We switch into Dobby as she sets up a Light Screen, and one Close Combat is all it takes. While it doesn't make for the most interesting content, I am happy to report that every single one of her Pokemon go down to a single Close Combat as we proceed on to Bruno. But she did have some cool sprites. Bruno's up next, and he's been swapped to a Water type. Hey, that's usually super effective against him. Coolio. Starting things off, he sends out Corley, and this is an awesome sprite. Swapping into blue, we dance up and we get hit for basically nothing with a flail, and then it endures knowing what's coming. It's at this point that we see the insane BST truly at work here, as each of Bruno's Pokemon, with the exception of Metastoise, should have been like either the first or second gym leader, not the second member of the Elite Four. 2 down, 2 to go. Agatha's been randomized into a fighting trainer. This should be exciting, and another typing that's bad against my lead Pokemon. Aegiking comes out first, and have you checked out my Aegislash video yet? I swap in the Dobby. Knowing this thing isn't fire, we can go ahead and try to get it down low with a Fire Punch, but we get hit pretty low ourselves after a couple of Sky Uppercuts. After healing back up a few times, we go for a close combat and manage to take it down with 1. Primegon 2 comes out next, and we do the same thing with a close combat, getting the KO. Zapblade is wicked, but knowing that I need to swap by sending Quick Strike, as a close combat gets us down to about half on the switch. Setting up a Swords Dance to discharge gets us down pretty low. Going for a Force Palm, we're able to take it out. Unli is creepy, but it only takes 1, and 1 for Honchloon as well, and only Lance remains. Lance is the normal trainer in this, which makes it feel like some kind of joke. And even more so is when his first Pokemon is a Die-Top. Once again, Clamps doesn't get his chance to shine as I send in Dobby. We get rocked with a close combat as we return with one of our own picking up the KO. Gyros is as surprised as I am to see that body slam, and we almost get KO'd, but we take it out. Drowvee is looking very suspicious, so we swap back into Clamps to avoid the Psychic. First setting up a Calm Mind, we end up going for a Crunch, and now that we're set up, a Flamethrower takes out Dunrith. And of course, a Blissey Pyukumuku fusion is his final Pokemon. Anything that kills this thing is going to get rocked by In or Out. So we're very careful not to OHKO it as Lance continues to heal up until we safely can get the KO, defeating the 4th and final Elite Four member. And now it's time for us to face off against the champion. And it turns out that it's Rando. He starts to monologue about how he's always been one step behind us. No matter how hard he trains, we're always just out of reach. But now he's ascended. You aren't dealing with the average Pokemon trainer anymore. You are dealing with the Kanto League champion! He kicks the battle off with his Houndterra. Clamp sets up a Calm Mind as we go for a Giga Drain. Attempting a Flamethrower, we find out that this thing has Flash Fire, so we swap in a Blaster. Tanking a Leaf Storm, barely. We're risking the speed if we go for it again, and this time we are down to 7 HP. But we do get the OHKO. Dugchamp is out next, so we swap into blue, getting hit with an Earthquake. Setting up a Swords Dance, a Dynamic Punch gets us really low. After hitting ourselves in confusion, another EQ seals our fate. Swapping into Joy, we use Will-O-Wisp to lower their attack, taking another EQ. Rando uses a full restore, and after 2 Psychics, we manage to take it down. Next is Cargo. We burn it and tank a Flamethrower, and we start going for the cheese. It pulls out a Destiny Bond, so we continue to max out our evasion. And then we start whittling this thing down with Psychics. Rando heals back up, and knowing it's not getting us anywhere, I send in Clamps. Going for a Crunch, we do about 50%, as Flamethrower gets us down pretty low. We do go for another, but then he swaps into Percu. A Play Rough leaves us pretty low, so we swap back into Joy again, going for another burn. Now it just starts using Pain Split to heal itself up a bunch of times as we fight through it until we eventually get the KO. Cargo comes back in. So we just start doing what we do best, burning it and hitting it over and over and over. After a handful of turns, eventually it goes down, sending out Dragalax. Burning this guy as well, we go ahead and swap into Dobby, taking a Heavy Slam. An Ice Punch gets him down pretty low as he withdraws and sends out an Electurn. A Thunder Punch does a bit under half as a close combat finishes it off. Dragalax comes back in just to get punched to the moon, and with that, we defeat Rando, becoming the Kanto League champions, only using Lucario fusions. If you liked the video, thanks so much for checking it out. And if you made it this far, please consider subscribing. And if you liked the video and you haven't already, hit that little like button. It really helps out with visibility. I'm trying to hit 5K this month, so every little bit helps. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite fusions are and what other challenges you'd all like to see me do. But until next time, see ya.